Trainer Joe Unfiltered, episode 2. Welcome back, Trainer Joe.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us, everybody. We appreciate it.
I have fat genes. Some
Okay.
people say
Yeah.
I have, and we're gonna get to several of them. My metabolism is not working well. It is behind the curve and causing me.
The curve, behind the curve.
Oh, I thought it was curve, and it's causing me to be at a disadvantage here to the point where I really struggle losing weight. Break it down. We actually have a playlist on your YouTube channel, Weight Loss Myths. Are these weight loss myths?
Yeah. We do talk a lot about the excuses we use because, the reality, if I figure out how to lose weight and keep it off, that means I had to overcome every excuse, and if I don't, if 10 years down the road I'm still heavy, it means I at least had one excuse, something caused me not to get there. And people tend to be, feel like they're at a disadvantage. And I would agree that certain things make you at a disadvantage. If your metabolism is not very good, it's going to be harder.
So if someone's
Recognize that it's going to be harder.
someone's 50 pounds overweight and says, "Well, the reason I really can't lose this is largely my metabolism," what do you say?
I would say, okay, I can see why you would say that. And if you have a bad metabolism, slow metabolism, I can see where that made it more difficult. But I'm the guy that needs to cheer you on and let you know it's possible. So that's the direction I go. I always go that way because I think that's true. But when we're already in a culture where it's kind of difficult and there's food everywhere and you deserve a break today, and then you throw in, and my parents were overweight, and the doctor said my metabolism isn't very good, I can see where we would feel kind of hopeless. I can understand that. But my job is not to coddle you and pat you on the back in your hopelessness. It's to give you hope, And I feel like that's the right thing to do.
Well,
I feel like it's accurate to deal with the things you're struggling with and say, here's how you deal with it. And that's my nature.
Yeah.
And I hope people can see that as a benefit.
We titled this video, "My Metabolism is Shot. I Have Fat Genes." Wrong.
Wrong.
In all caps, wrong. So is that wrong, or are you empathetic and saying, no, they actually are onto something?
I would say it's wrong to give those too much attention. And that's what I think people tend to do is they look at, they get to the place where like, okay, I probably should do something about my weight. They begin to explore it and they want it to be anything but. I eat too much. I enjoy eating. It's fun. And I'm going to have to remove some of that from my life. They want it to be something other than that. It's like, if I can say that it's in my family history and there's nothing I can do about it, I get to keep eating whatever I want. And does that sound harsh? If I can say I got a bad metabolism and there's nothing I can do about it, so I get to still eat whatever I want. So there is some of that.
Let's pry into the practical a little bit here. I had a family member on the other side was talking about a very close family friend that's very heavy, and this family member who's not heavy herself, but she was saying, well, yeah, but this person, let's give her a little slack. I think she really is big boned.
Yeah. What does give her slack mean? You're going to have to question that. My reason for being here is maybe not the same reason she has to give her slack. Mine is to give her hope. You're a big girl. You're going to die. This is serious. It's terrible. It's horrible. So my whole thing is your reason that you're heavy.
I'm looking for something that this reminds me of.
The reason you're heavy has little to do with what you think or with what you think it is or what you want it to be. What it has to do with is the way you think. It's the way you think. It's not your metabolism. It's not your family history. It's not your bones.
Here, real quick on that, this is what it made me think of. See if you can see this. There's the picture of it. It's two sets of bones, And it's this girl posting to Facebook. She says, OMG, I'm so glad they posted this because some people are meant to be wide and some small, and it's okay. Love yourself. Am I allowed to share this?
Yeah.
Love yourself, queens and kings. And then down at the bottom, edit in all caps. Never mind. I think that's a gorilla, but still love yourself.
But still love yourself, because it is a gorilla. And if you want to be a gorilla, then eat as much as a gorilla.
This is one of the funniest things I've seen online.
Yeah.
So the big bone, to me, if I'm just being real, some people might have an extra, centimeter to their wrist size.
Has very little or nothing to do with being 20 pounds, 50 pounds,
So
200 pounds overweight.
Have dispelled the big bone one.
Dispel that.
What about those? So the metabolism, you were saying that there's some metabolisms that are a bit slower.
Yeah.
But you're saying
some people are a bit taller, and some are a bit richer, and some like vegetables and some don't. Some like to play pickleball and some don't. Throw that in there. Now, that may have a more direct effect on your eating than the other things, but so do you like vegetables, and do you like going out for walks? No, I don't. Okay, well, then that's going to hurt you in the same way that the metabolism is going to hurt them, that you don't like going outside, okay, or that you don't like veggies, or you're a picky eater, or you're rebellious, or whatever, whatever, you love sugar, whatever all those things play into it. So we all have all these things. And I remember talking to one guy who really struggled. He ended up losing a lot of weight, and he said, I resented the struggle. I resented this struggle that I had, because he said, even after I lost the weight, I didn't know how to stay there. I didn't know how to eat. And I'm like, why is this happening to me? He said, then I thought about a friend of mine who has a different struggle. Yeah. And I was thankful I didn't have that struggle. So it's mindset. I think a big piece of this is, we're in a culture that is kind of encourages being entitled and encourages being indulgent, rather than, we talk about generations past and how they were different. They were different.
Yeah.
They were different.
Yeah.
And I think maybe in a lot of ways less entitled, more grateful. And if we're not grateful and we feel like we deserve, why aren't we going to eat whenever we want to eat?
To that point, I flipped on a TV show I was watching with my son. We no longer do TV for the time being. He's 1.5, but a song came on.
Y'all are weird.
Yeah, I know. A song came on. It was like Nickelodeon. It started. It said, "This is me, so here I am. I'm not gonna change a thing. Love yourself now." So that's and then
that's our culture.
Flip over to another.
Be whatever you want, even if it's a different.
I flipped over to another station. Oh, this is a different.
Stop me.
A different day, but it literally was like a deodorant commercial, and the tagline was "Worship yourself." All of that really feeds into what we're talking about.
You shouldn't have to sacrifice. You shouldn't have to ever be hungry. You shouldn't have to say no to dessert. You should just have such a great metabolism that you eat whatever you want. You never have to worry about it. And that's what we want. We don't want to have to, and I know it's not everybody, but it's enough. We don't want to have to say no to ourselves. And I think a lot of times we misinterpret this. What do we call it when we care for ourselves? Self-care?
Self-care.
We misinterpret that into give you whatever you want. That's certainly the opposite. Many times the last thing that's going to be self-care and helpful to you is eating. Yeah. And we well, you shouldn't deprive yourself. So there is that. So I like to talk about eat for the size you want to be. I talked to one guy who was at one of my sessions I was doing, and he was new, and he was like, "What's this about?" And afterwards he came up to me and said, I probably should do your program. He said, "But I want you to know I don't really eat that much." And it caught me off guard because he was a big guy. I said, "Well, if you don't mind me asking, how much do you weigh?" He said, 350 pounds. I said, "I'm not trying to be harsh or anything." I said, "But if you weigh 350 pounds, then you ate for a 350-pound person."
Was he able to receive that?
In the moment, it was a little hard for him, but after he lost weight, listening to me and believing that it would work, it worked. And he lost weight, and he was like, "Yeah, you're right." He didn't like it when I said it, but he liked it when it worked. Because we focus on the wrong things a lot of times.
9 a.m., 1 slice of watermelon and a hard-boiled egg. 12 p.m., small piece of salmon over a big salad.
6 o'clock, chicken with veggies. Why do I weigh this much?
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
While you're watching The Bachelor.
While you're watching the Golden Bachelor, you have 23 Oreos and a tub of ice cream. But you forgot about that because you made so many sacrifices during the day that surely you deserve a treat. You know, sure there's little nuances of things going on out there that we want to find and blame. Hey, you had enough food, then you had 23 Oreos and a tub of ice cream, and you're like, well, what's wrong with me? Well,
What's
whether it's that or and here's the thing: some people are like, well, I don't eat like that. Well, I'll tell you what you do. You eat enough to weigh whatever you weigh. I know you do that.
Yeah.
And so I think some people are helped if we look at it, if we turn it. Let's say you weigh too little. Okay, if you weigh too little, everybody gets excited. Everybody's coming to the rescue. This person needs help. This person needs rescue. They have an eating disorder. They got anorexia. And it's like, well, what should you tell them to do? Well, you're going to have to eat when you don't feel like eating. But what's the main problem? Mental. It's a mental thing. It's not their... Now that mental can turn into health things, right? You're very unhealthy now. And your mindset can turn into you being obese and morbidly obese, and you got fatty liver, and you need insulin, you need that. But it's all there because of the way you think and the way you address food and whether you're going to eat or not, whether you're going to say no to seconds. I was at a function yesterday, and I've recently decided to lower my sugar intake because I got an A1C result, and I was like, how's my A1C that high?
By the way, go watch I need to create a playlist, but go watch his videos talking about his pre-diabetes and more recent.
Yeah.
That very interesting. There, you'll notice there's 3 videos so far, but continue.
Well, so I make the decision, which most people don't see me having to sacrifice or say no to things because I felt like I had a good balance going. It was just living my life and loving it. And of course, I was always conscientious about what I ate, naturally kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, this girl, they're cutting cake for a birthday party and it brings me a piece. And I was caught off guard. And I was like, I don't want the cake, but I also don't want to look like a jerk. We're celebrating several people's birthday here. It was homemade cake.
Including your own birthday.
And it was even partly including mine. And she caught me off guard and she put it in front of me. And I could see why people might say, you know what, forget this diet. They're trying to honor me. And why would I be a jerk and say no thanks to this? And so I'm seeing what everybody else is going through. And I awkwardly said no thank you. And she was very kind. But sometimes we're too nice, and we're like, I got to be nice to everybody. I got to be nice to myself. If ever somebody offers me something to eat, I mean that's kind of their love language. They're trying to be nice to me. How dare I say no, thank you? Well, do it nice, but quit being so nice because there's several things in the way of you losing weight, and sometimes that's one of them. It's not your metabolism. It's not your big bone. It's not your heredity. Do those play a little piece? Yes. But if you're going to focus on the little pieces forever, you're never going to win this.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, it sounds like that girl was very gracious when you said no thank you. But there are people watching that are like, oh, it would be a big deal if I turned down my mom's cake.
Right. One piece of cake's not going to do you any harm. And it's like, okay, what are you saying no to? And that's fine. If you've got it figured out to where you can say yes to these and no to these, that's fine. But there's a saying that for many, total abstinence is easier than perfect moderation. And we play this game of, oh, eat that, don't eat that, eat a little bit, eat a little bit, eat a little bit. And it's a lot of times easier to just say, I don't eat dessert. I don't eat dessert. Other than picking and choosing when you are, when you aren't. And that's fine. You do it however you want to do it.
Just make sure you're in control. Make sure you are the one in control. Because ultimately, you're the one in control of your own destiny. And all these other outside factors can cause you to tank. Or you can say, no, I'm in control. And say, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're in control?
I do. I definitely do. Almost too much. To where some people might be like, Paul, you could relax a little bit.
Yeah, you seem a little hypervigilant.
How dare you?
Hypervigilant. Right? You're a little bit on the extreme. If we talk about extremes, so am I, but different than you in the way that I do it. But you're strict.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just naturally am that way in regards
Why
to.
do you care? Why do you care about whether you eat? I mean, give us an idea of what you eat. You're obviously not overweight. You look really fit and lean. Some people might say you're a little too thin, but that's usually people that have struggled with their weight and they're not used to anybody being the correct weight. I mean, and I'm all serious when I say that, because if you look at the charts of what a healthy weight is, most people are going to look at that and say, "Oh, that's too thin."
Wow.
And I'm like, who said that's too thin? Well, our culture said it's too thin, but the doctor said it's great. The life insurance company said it's ideal, but people around you that are struggling and quite frankly sometimes jealous, well, that's too thin. You need to eat. And I get it. And certainly there is a such thing as being too thin. But to just gauge it by, well, because you're thinner than me is not a good it's not a good way to determine that.
No.
And that's what it's not uncommon for somebody to look at somebody and say, well, you're too thin, when they're not at all too thin. They're in a perfectly healthy range.
Sure. And us thin people, like, that are on the very thin side definitely can. We've been there. We've had plenty of people say that to us. You're looking too thin.
You thin people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're obviously thin too, but you got a little more muscle than I do. But no, I mean.
Thank you for noticing.
Well, I mean, you're Trainer Joe. You better.
Well.
You better be fit as a fiddle. Yeah, man. I like to eat well, and I don't overeat. There it is. I eat lots of variety. I don't eat particularly like rigid as far as staying away from all sweets. I enjoy my Reese's at night. I know you've up until. Oh, go ahead.
What do you eat at night?
A Reese's.
A full.
I will typically do
the normal Reese pack, or a little guy, or a.
I have a big bag of Reese's in my cupboard.
Of the little ones
that stays replenished,
or the regular.
We're
size?
talking the regular size.
Regular size.
Uh-huh.
Single pack. Because they come in twos.
Well, not if you buy a full bag of them.
So the full bag is one
like,
Reese's.
It probably has like 18 individually wrapped.
Individually
Reese's.
wrapped. Gotcha.
And I will enjoy as many as I desire in the evenings.
What?
Mm-hmm.
How many is that? That's the question. How many do you desire?
Depends on the night.
Okay.
But what I'm doing, I will just say 4 to 5.
Okay, 4 to 5 Reese cups.
Yeah.
So that's probably about 500 calories worth of Reese cups.
Probably not that much.
It's going to be 100 calories each.
No, 7. I'd say it's about 70 calories each. Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I'm eating, we'll go on the high end, the heavy end. Say I eat 5 Reese's every night.
Yeah.
If I wake up and I'm realizing that I'm putting on weight, I'm getting pudgy, I'm going to cut back to 2 Reese's a night. I'm going to make adjustments as he's looking in real time. I guess 70 calories.
Spell Reese.
Reese's.
Okay.
I guess 70.
87 calories. So
split the difference.
Yeah.
So 400, 350, 400 calories.
Yeah.
I'm going to make adjustments. And I think that's key.
That is so key. And that's what I would like most. That's how I would like most people to do it. Are you willing to make an adjustment? But you know what a lot of people do that gets them? They're like, well, that's not healthy. That's got a lot of sugar in it. Blah, 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 blah. While they're 50 pounds overweight, they're talking about that rather than how do you do this? And I would tell them, forget all your I want to be healthy, because to most people that sounds more virtuous. I just want to be healthy. I don't want to be thin like you who eats Reese cups and I just want to be healthy. Well, you're 50 pounds overweight.
Trainer Joe Unfiltered, nobody's safe. No, he's coming for everybody.
Well, let's be real. That's fine. You want to focus on your health? I think that's great. Go ahead. But what's that mean? Because I had one girl who was saying she just wanted to learn how to have balance in her life. And she said, every time I think I found balance, I'm still 50 pounds overweight. Is that the balance you want? Is that the health you want? I remember one girl was in one of my groups.
Get rid of your virtue.
Get rid of your virtue. Anyway.
Your false virtue.
One lady in one of my groups, I said, so why are you here? She said, well, I have an organic farm. She said, and I want to look like an organic farmer, but I'm obese, right? So she was healthy. So I would challenge people that would like to lose weight to focus on losing weight. Not by drugs or smoking or doing something that's unhealthy or sinful or illegal. But if it means you can still eat ice cream, okay, go ahead. Now, if you lose your weight and then you say, now I want to get really healthy, go ahead. How do you want to do it? Now you're in a much better place to exercise, adjust your diet, but at least now you've gotten into a healthy weight range.
To scrap the Reese's for something a little more organic. I get it.
If you were heavy, if you were 30 pounds or obese, and I asked you, so tell me what you do, Paul, and you gave me a list of things you did every day, what do you think would be the first thing I'd tell you to cut out?
The Reese's at night.
Probably the Reese's at night would be first. But you ain't. You got a system. You have a balance. Now, I don't care if somebody wants to complain about you eating Reese's Cups or not, but I'm like, man, this guy's healthy. He works out. He's fit. He does this. And what did he eat the rest of the day, right? If that is the only thing with sugar in it you ate all day, which is probably close to that, whatever.
It's pretty close to that.
Anyway, but now if you go to the doctor, tell me what happens here. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says, Paul, I know you're fit and lean and all that, but I just checked and you're pre-diabetic. Are you going to change anything in your life? Or are you just going to start taking metformin?
This is similar to your situation. Almost.
Yeah.
But it is.
Keep it on you.
No, that's similar. I would do almost exactly what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You might
cut your carbs.
I'm just going to cut it.
Cut your carbs.
I don't want to be pre-diabetic.
Right. But so what's the difference between that and somebody that says, well, doc, because the doctors, and I have friends that are doctors, I'm nearly a doctor. No,
practically.
I'm kidding. I'm practically a doctor. No, but I have friends. I'm not. I'm kidding. Friends that are doctors, dear friends that are doctors, great doctors. But in general, most doctors know little or nothing about how food and nutrition affect your health. Most.
Are you being serious right now?
Yes.
I would think that they would be very knowledgeable.
It's disgustingly little that they know about that. Now, what they know. And now you may have a great doctor, but that's the exception. The exception is a doctor that knows anything about nutrition and how it affects your health.
That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
So and if you, I can understand why they might get a little cynical because everybody comes in and says, "What do I need to do, doc?" And they know you lose weight. They just don't know the best way to tell you to do it. And they, quite frankly, have been trained to help you through medication. So they're going to tell you, well, Paul, you're pre-diabetic. And they're going to look at it from a place of, what medicine do you need? That's right. That's how they do it. Now, there are some that'll say, why don't you go lose some weight? Well, you don't have any weight to lose. So they're going to assume, and pardon me for being generalized, but they're going to assume you just there's something wrong with your body that we need to tweak or adjust. So here's metformin, here's some medication that you can take, or that's what they're going to do. Instead of saying, lower your carbs. There are some that will say that, but not as a general rule, from my experience.
They need to watch this video.
Yeah. All right.
Well, guys, comment below. What do you think? I know that this is relatively spicy when we're bashing the weight loss myths of heredity and metabolism being the reason we can't lose weight. We're bashing it, dude. We're throwing that stuff into the trash can. Is that something that you had bought into maybe up until literally this very moment watching this video? That was kind of your excuse, and now your excuse has been shattered? Where are you at with it? People in the comment section, encourage one another. Let's keep the dialogue going. Comment below.
Adios.
Adios. Trainer Joe, train your brain.
Transform your body.